So you started a social media marketing agency, but you already have a full-time job. What do you do? Let's talk about it in this video. All right, what's going on, everybody? My name is Jordan Steen, aka Serial Entrepreneur, and at this channel, we talk all about social media marketing, digital marketing, starting an online business, personal branding. So if you are new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that way you can get updates to all of our future content, all of our giveaways, promotions, stuff like that. So you started your social media marketing agency, right? But you still have a full-time job, and I completely understand. You might be a little stressed out. You kind of don't know what to do yet because you can't give up the job, or maybe you want to give up the job and just go full time into, starting your agency, but you don't know, what's the smartest decision? What really should you do? Can you make the money fast enough to start your marketing agency, or should you keep that full-time job, so that way you can have some sort of income coming in? So let's talk about this, because I actually have done this. This is how I started my agency. I had a full-time job. I owned another business where I was doing commercial pressure washing and mobile detailing while I was starting my agency and starting Serial Entrepreneur. So there's a lot that I was doing, but how did I get it all done and build it all up to where I could quit my full-time job, where I was running the commercial pressure washing and all of that? So let's talk about some of the things that I did and what you should probably do when, you're starting your agency, but you're still working. So before we get into some of the methodologies that I used or some of the, tactics that I took to building my agency while working a full-time job, the one tip that I want to give you guys that is probably the most important is that you should be spending most of your time trying to land clients for your agency. That's pretty much, that should be 90% of your time spent in the very beginning. So that way you're building your business, you're actually starting to generate revenue to where you can focus on other things like, starting to hire people, outsource, build a team, all of that stuff. So if you're looking for more information on how to land clients, up here in the top right-hand corner, we have a video on the 5-step process that you need to know. You're guaranteed to land clients if you follow this 5-step process and really learn how to sell digital marketing services. So make sure to check that video out. So guys, when it comes to starting a digital marketing or social media marketing agency and you're working a full-time job, I'm just gonna be pretty blunt about it. You have to commit fully. All right, in the very beginning, it's gonna suck. It's gonna be a lot of work, and I mean a lot of work. When I first started doing this, I was working anywhere from 70 to 80 hours per week for the first few months that I was doing this. And even after that, I still have 70-hour weeks sometimes when I have deadlines to meet and things like that. So, it really takes a commitment, especially when you have that full-time job or if you have a family that you have to take care of and provide for. So, and then not to mention just life stuff, doing laundry, doing dishes, cleaning the house, all of that stuff, you have to fit in somewhere, right? And it gets, testing, but I promise you it is possible. It's just, you won't be sleeping much and you won't be hanging out with friends as much. That's really, the two things that you have to understand. You're not going to get a ton of sleep. You shouldn't be partying, hanging out with friends, doing extracurricular things. You really just need to commit to the process, learn, start your business. And I promise you, when you do that, you will see the results. So let's take a look at this calendar, not really calendar, but kind of a time frame or a time block system that I would use when I was starting, my agency, and when I was trying to build that while running my full-time job or my other business. Really, what did my day kind of look like? What did I do to kind of push myself forward and get to that next level? So let's take a look right here behind me really quick. And up top, you see we had Monday to Friday, because this is what most of you are working. Some of you might work different schedules, but roughly you're working 5 days a week, about 9 to 5, or, about an 8-hour shift per day that you work to equal roughly at least 40 hours. That would be full time, right? So Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, Saturday and Sunday, typically people have off. And again, this changes depending on the industry you're in, but for the most part, this is true for everybody. So what did my week look like? Because I even worked on the weekends sometimes when I was doing detailing and pressure washing. Sometimes people only wanted their stuff done on the weekend. So, we had to, kind of make the best of our time. So let's look at how I recommend doing this for you guys. You can see we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So what I've done is I've blocked off 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for Monday to Friday. And these are the days where obviously you're at work. So what can we do to fit in some time to build your agency? Well, here's where you have to be the one to be able to commit after work is over. Get home. If you have kids, you have to take care of them, feed them. I get that. If you have other responsibilities, obviously don't miss them. Make sure you're taking care of them. But when you get done with all of that and you really get settled in, I would come home and I'd eat. I would do, some basic chores around the house, stuff like that. And then I'd work from about 6 p.m. to about 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m. sometimes. All right. So, and you can see I did that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We started at 7 p.m. So I gave myself like a little 2-hour break. You have to give yourself some breaks or else you will, really just start to hate what you're doing. But there's just not a ton of breaks during this period. Those first several months are all about just getting that thing up and going, getting clients so that way you can get out of that 9 to 5. Tuesday, you can see we did 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So we gave ourselves a little bit more time off. Towards the end of the week, we start to allow ourselves a little bit more time off at the end of the day. Friday, we didn't do any work on this day, and the reason why is because we're about to work the full weekend, and that's what I would usually do. I would spend Saturday and Sunday, and I would work all day Saturday and Sunday. I know this says 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., but most of the time it was actually 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. the next day. So, it really takes a commitment, and I want you guys to understand that you're not just going to be able to work 2 to 3 hours per week, trying to build this agency and expect it to get somewhere. You really have to commit. If you're working a full-time job, one of the lessons one of my mentors taught me was there's a seasonality to life. And essentially there's a season for friendships, there's a season for fun, there's a season for your career, for family stuff, right? Where you need to focus on those areas. All right. And what she told me was essentially right now, Jordan, you're in the stage of the season you're in is your career. You need to focus on that. All right. And you need to do whatever you can to build that career and to make it something that's going to last when you're older. Right. So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting all of my focus into my career. This is the season I'm focused on in my life. I'm not going out and trying to make a ton of new friends. I'm not going out and having a good time every single day or anything like that. We focus on the business first. We still have our fun, but we know what's important and what's going to get us to the next level. So you need to set yourself up some sort of time schedule, something that will keep you on track and keep you accountable and say, okay, well, these are the days I'm going to work this way. Because you can see here, if we do 6 to 12, that's 6, 12, 5, that would be 17, 20. And then if we work these full 9 hours, that's 38 hours right there. So if you work a full-time job, that's 40 plus 38, that's 78 hours in a week. So you can see it does take a commitment. You have to be willing to put in that extra effort. And if you're not, then I'm sorry, but it's going to be difficult for you. You're going to have a hard time. And it's because, all of this time isn't just building the agency. You're probably, if you're newer, you need to be spending time learning. That's something that goes into the process of building an agency. And if you're not learning how to run the campaigns properly, you're going to struggle even further down the line when you have a client and they're expecting you to get results, which is not good because you're going to hurt your agency. They're going to give you a bad review, which means less customers and less money for you. It just makes it all the more difficult. So make sure you set up some time schedule, start building customers first. That's the biggest priority. Make sure you're educating yourself and then start building processes for your business to make sure everything is optimized and that you're, getting work done quickly. You're able to get those results because you have a plan in place. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to want to do is kind of figure out how long it's going to take you to reach that target, right? So you have to figure out a couple of things. How much are your expenses going to be? So what is that target revenue number that you're trying to reach so that way you can leave your full-time job? And then how long is it going to take you to get there? How quickly can you get there? So you need to, kind of plan for that. So what I like to do is two things. Well, a couple of things, several things. Number one is going to be find out what your personal expense budget is. So your rent, your utilities, car payments, cell phone, extra expenses, food, if you have extracurricular things you do, whatever, all of your expenses that you do on a month-to-month basis or that you have on a month-to-month basis, figure that out, all right? And figure out your monthly budget, what you can allot yourself. If you're tight on budget, you need to cut expenses somewhere. Monthly operating expenses is going to be the next thing. So how much is it going to cost you to run your business? How much are the softwares going to cost you? How much is labor going to cost you? How much, are you going to pay yourself? All of that information. How much are your operating expenses for you to run your business? All right. So we'll just say that, for example, right here, it's $12.50. So maybe we're not paying ourselves, or we're paying ourselves just a little bit, not too much at all, right? And then the rest is software expenses and labor for outsourcing, stuff like that. Okay, so that brings our total cost for operating expenses and our personal budget to be around $37.50 per month, right? But that's not all we have as an expense, right? Because there's taxes, and we want to plan for that too. So what I've kind of done, or what I would do if I were you, is just kind of bump this up by 30%, and that kind of gives you, a little extra cushion in case you need to have more revenue for taxes, or maybe you had a little bit more on the operating expenses. But all I do is I add 30% to that total expense number. So you can see that would be 1125 is 30% of 3750, and then we add that to get our grand total, which is 4875. So almost $5,000 per month is what you would need if you have a personal expense budget of $2,500, and then a monthly operating expense budget of $1,250 plus taxes. That's what you would need to cover. Now, the less you have here and here, the less you'll need here to leave your full-time job, which is good for you, right? So cutting expenses in the beginning, living frugally, not spending on things you don't need, all of that is super important in starting a business. Like, you can't just think about the business. You have to think about what you're doing in your personal life too, because as an entrepreneur, bootstrapping a business or just starting out, this is what it takes. Bootstrapping is a real thing for a reason. If you're not familiar with bootstrapping, make sure you look that term up after this video. And if you don't know what bootstrapping is, say, I don't know, and I'll leave you a quick comment of what bootstrapping is below this video. Now that we know our target revenue number, right? How much we want to make before we leave our full-time job or decide to quit. We need to figure out how long it's going to take us to get there. And it's not, anything crazy. All you want to do is create a 4-month plan. And that's what I recommend, to everyone, is just try and figure out what you can do in 4 months, or if you can try and, get to where you're trying to be with your target revenue in 4 months. And so what I do is, we just lay out goals that we want to reach. So the first month, maybe we don't have a goal to hit, a ton of revenue. Maybe we're just going to spend that first month reaching out to a ton of customers. If we get one, great. But we're not going to anticipate a customer in the first month. Second month, we get our first customer out of all of those people we were, working with. Third month, we get another customer for $2,000. So we're at $4,000. And then month 4, maybe we pick up a $1,500 client. Now we're at $5,500, and we're way above our target range. And we're actually, good with some extra money to play. Plus, we might have a little extra cushion because of that 30%. So that's, kind of how you want to plan out what you're going to need to do for yourself to leave that full-time job. Outside of that, guys, it's really just the time commitment, the energy, and the willingness to want something different is really, and, people ask me, Jordan, how do I stay motivated? How do you stay motivated doing all of this? It's difficult, blah, blah, blah. There's ups and downs, and there's a ton of downs when I'm first starting out. Well, guys, it just comes down to the fact you have to look at it as, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to stop working for someone else? Everybody says they want it, but when it comes down to it, it's a lot of work. It is not easy to do. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. You're going to have a lot of challenges. And are you willing to commit to the process, not just marketing, but starting a business, learning how to sell, working with customers, managing your finances, just all kinds of stuff, managing a team. All of that is stuff that you have to learn to be successful in this, adventure or venture, whether it's starting a marketing agency or starting a plumbing business. It doesn't matter. If you're an entrepreneur, this is what you go through. So I ask you something, and I want you to answer below, because I want to see those of you who are committed. If you're committed, if you're truly wanting to make money in social media marketing, I just want you to leave a comment that says, yes, I'm committed in 2018 and 2019. This is going to be my plan. I'm going to start a full-time agency. Not in so many words, but something like that in the comments below. So the last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here is what you should do to land meetings with clients. Because if you're working that 9-to-5 schedule that we talked about, it's going to be hard if you are, not able to meet with them when they're at their office, right? If they work 9 to 5 too, how are you supposed to meet with them? So let's talk about this a little bit, because that can be challenging for those of you who can only really go out on the weekends. So I'm going to go through a couple of things that I've heard that people do, maybe some recommendations that I would try if I were you, and then we'll see if that kind of vibes with you. But basically, one thing that I would recommend, and this came from a viewer of mine, they actually went to their boss and said, hey, is there a way where I can come in a couple extra hours early on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I can leave early on Friday. So what they did was they now have Friday to go out and start landing businesses. Now, what I would recommend is not doing Friday, because business owners typically don't want to meet on Fridays. I would recommend anywhere from, Tuesday to Thursday. Those are usually good meeting days, because Monday I'm busy with catching up from the weekend. Friday I'm worried about the weekend, so I'm not trying to talk to you, right? So if I were you, but it's a really great idea to say, hey boss, can I come in early on these days, work the extra hours then, and then, maybe take off early at lunchtime on Thursday, and I can go do something else. And you don't have to tell them that you're trying to start a business. Just tell them something else. That's not their business. All right, so that's one of the things I would recommend. The other thing is, if you can't do that, if your boss isn't going to let you leave early, the biggest thing is business owners are willing to meet and talk about their business on the weekends if it's worth it, right? And one thing that you need to get comfortable with is running video webinars or video calls, like a Skype call or something like that. Most adults know how to use Skype, especially if they're in business. So get used to using Skype, send out invitations, and do your calls that way on the weekends. Most people just don't want to take their time to come out and meet you, right? So make it convenient for them. People will take convenience over quality any day. It's sad to say, but people want convenience, right? So give them convenience. Say, hey, we don't have to, you don't even have to leave your home. If you have a laptop, we can do a quick video call. I can share my screen and show you everything that I'm trying to show you. And that's it, right? So those are a couple ideas that I recommend trying. But if you can, obviously Monday to Friday, you want to find some time in there to try and go out. Business owners are also, they tend to work late, anywhere from 6 to 7, even 8 p.m. sometimes, especially like attorneys, doctors, they work late. So, try and work into their schedule. If they work, later, try and meet up after, like at 7 p.m. Try and stop by the office then. It's really just, you have to take the time. There is no one way to do it. I want you guys to understand that. It's different for every industry or every niche you work with. It's different for every single person. So you have to be the one to determine, okay, well, when can I make that time? And make it a priority too, because if you don't, you won't build your business. You won't reach that point where you can, finally quit that 9 to 5. So that's it for this video, guys. If you want to learn more about starting a social media marketing agency, I've left a link in the description below. We'll send you a checklist of over 65 items and resources and tools and things you'll need to do to get your social media marketing agency started on the right foot, plus tons of other free information that we're going to send you over the next couple of weeks. So make sure you get that training. But in summation, guys, everything you need to understand is that it takes a lot of time and a true commitment. If you're not willing to put that commitment, if you're not willing to, step aside from the friends and, just stop worrying about the fun stuff and going out and doing things, and if you put all of that aside for a little bit, just a little bit, in the grand scheme of things, a few months, several months is not that long. All right, so if you're willing to put it to the side for a little bit and focus on a business that's going to, potentially make you anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 to, I have a student that makes $45,000 plus per month. So if you want that, you can totally do it, but it takes your time, it takes your commitment, and you have to be the one to put everything aside and say no and say, I want to do this. This is what is important to me. So if you found this video helpful today, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up so that way other people can get the information that they're looking for. Lastly, leave a comment below and let me know the biggest thing you struggle with starting your agency and running a full-time job. I'd like to know. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. So if you are new, make sure you hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner, then the notification bell, so you can get all the updates to all of the content, all of the free stuff, promotions, giveaways that we do here at Serial Entrepreneur. And I hope to see you guys on the next video. Until then, Serial Entrepreneur out. Later, guys. Ready to start living the six-figure work wherever, be your own boss lifestyle? Well, at Serial Entrepreneur Academy, we'll teach you how to use a laptop and internet to start your own social media and digital marketing agency. Get started with our free Facebook ads training. Links in the description below, guys. See you in the course. Serial Entrepreneur out.